The Thing is one of my favorites of all time. It has a great storyline and is loaded with great effects, along with great vision and direction from John Carpenter. The original version of this movie was made in 1951, titled The Thing from Another World, and takes place at the North Pole instead of the Antarctic, and deals with the discovery of a very different alien form than the Carpenter version. I won't mention the 2011 version of The Thing because it doesn't influence the movie, although it does serve as a prequel to this version. For this review, I wanted to dive into some key moments in the movie for those who haven't seen it, before I look at other themes. The opening is such a classic. An alien ship crashes into the Earth's atmosphere, and the title peels through the screen with bright white and ice blue, a tribute to the original. Right away, we get a Norwegian helicopter shooting at a dog. Really bizarre situation. One of the Americans is shot, and they have to take the guy down, leaving nothing but questions. I think an important scene to note is when Blair is frustrated nobody has been reached by radio. The sense of isolation begins with this discussion.
Come on.
Nobody.
Get a hold of somebody. Get a hold of anybody. We gotta report this mess.
Look, I haven't been able to reach shit in 2 weeks. I doubt if anybody's talked to anybody on this entire continent, and you want me to reach somebody.
They have a lot of questions about the camp the Norwegians occupied. Mac, Kurt Russell, agrees to pilot a chopper to their camp in really poor weather conditions. Meanwhile, the husky they rescued is being focused on, but we don't know why at this point. They finally reach the Norwegian base, and what they find is disturbing. No signs of surviving Norwegians. What they do find is something almost impossible to describe. It barely resembles a life form. We get a much better look at it before Blair's autopsy, and the looks on the faces of the men show fear as much as puzzlement. Blair discovers that whatever this thing is, despite its appearance, it has normal internal human organs. Clark puts the dog back in the pen with the other dogs. The dogs in the pen start going crazy, and then we see for the first time the Thing. What else could you call it? When Mac and the rest of them arrive, they see a bizarre creature that looks somewhat like a dog. They torch it until it's dead. The autopsy on this body gives them some answers, mainly that this is a creature that can imitate life forms perfectly. There is a part when they are watching the Norwegian footage of their discovery. This is actually footage from the original The Thing from Another Planet. Mac and some men fly back to the other camp and find what appears to be a spaceship, in ice and about 100,000 years old. They find out that the Norwegians basically woke up a very threatening life form. Mac learns in the truck from Blair's notebook that the creature's remains are not dead yet. Bennings, left alone, is absorbed by the creature, discovered by his friend, already dead. When they all surround the alien, in my opinion, it lets out one of the creepiest howls ever. Blair destroys the helicopter, which seems insane at first. He goes a little goofy, so they lock him up in the tool shed for their protection and his. Blair tells them to watch Clark. The paranoia and suspicion spiral from this point on. I think the character Childs describes it the best.
So how do we know who's human? If I was an imitation, a perfect imitation, how would you know if it was really me?
They were going to try a blood test, but the blood was destroyed, which has them boil over with fear and frustration. Mac gives the best description outside of their situation. Let's take a brief look at that scene.
I know I'm human. And if you were all these things, then you'd just attack me right now. So some of you are still human. This thing doesn't want to show itself. It wants to hide inside an imitation. It'll fight if it has to. But it's vulnerable out in the open. If it takes us over, then it has no more enemies.
Mac gets left by his partner outside, his partner thinking he was an alien, a trick by the other alien. Max sneaks in and has to use explosives to keep them from destroying him. Pretty ballsy. The focus is on Max while another is being treated with no vital signs, and wow, this alien is just crazy. Just look at this. Mac ends up torching it in the lab while it continues to try to escape. In all the films I've seen, this ranks up there on the weird scale. Mac comes up with a plan to use their blood and put a hot needle to it to see how the blood reacts. But shouldn't they sterilize the knife between cuts? I mean, if one particle can affect the whole body, just a thought. During the test, a jolting display of the creature ensues. It is just so frighteningly bizarre. Let's just watch a bit of this scene. The test is complete, and you get a sense that everything will be alright, and there should be no threats left. They discover Blair has escaped from the tool shed and has been making a spacecraft under the shed. The creature blew the generator, and well, it's a big problem, and leaves them dead in the water.
Well, that's suicide. Not for that thing. It wants to freeze now. It's got no way out of here. It just wants to go to sleep in the cold until the rescue team finds it. What can we do?
Mac comes up with a plan to kill the creature once and for all. Both of Mac's comrades get absorbed by the thing, and an epic battle with the exotic antagonist proceeds. Mac wins the fight with an explosion which takes out the whole camp. Mac sits down with Childs, and they have a short exchange, basically acknowledging that they won't survive in the cold much longer. The theme song kicks in there, and I always like to think that maybe Childs was the thing at the end, but that's just a take on it. Isolation is what's drilled into you throughout the movie. They are on a desolate continent, and the flat plains of snow and lack of color lend to the depressing, isolated vibe the movie creates. The special effects in this are fantastic. All the bizarre forms and disgusting fluids create one of the more putrid but fascinating characters in the sci-fi horror genre. This movie is also a mystery story wrapped up in a sci-fi horror, which makes a great dynamic. If you haven't seen it, it's a must-see. This was Pat for HMRG. Thanks for watching.